Okay guys, now I wanted to kind of continuing on in 3.1, take a look at numbers 10 through 12 on page 107. Interesting concept that we look at here for a second. Number 10 says, which of the ingredients has a positive impact? A positive impact on the Consumer Reports rating. Well, let's jump over here and look at our supplement and take a look and see which ones have a positive impact. A positive impact, well, what does that mean? What that means is things like, for example, things like protein. Just in general, if I'm thinking about protein, the more protein in my cereal, probably the better it is for me. So if there's more protein, it probably has a higher Consumer Reports rating. If it has less protein, it probably has a lower Consumer Reports rating. So if we look here, which ones have a positive impact? Well, I think I stole the fire here saying protein, and yeah, it makes sense. As protein increases, if we add more protein to the cereal, the Consumer Reports rating kind of tends to go up. It's still that wide range, but the whole thing is kind of going up every time. If we were kind of going to draw a line to the middle of this, it would kind of be going up in this direction, saying that that's the way that the Consumer Reports ratings are going. As we get higher protein levels, we get higher Consumer Reports ratings also. So that would be a positive impact. It looks like none of the other ones really have a positive impact, so we're kind of done there. Number 11 says which ones have negative impacts. So the more of this ingredient, the lower the rating is. Well, it kind of makes sense. We look at the fat, and yeah, the more fat we have, the lower the rating gets. Like this one over here has 5 grams of fat per serving, has a very low rating. You know, this one over here, there's 0 fat and it has a really high rating, so that kind of makes sense. As we increase the amount of fat, we decrease the rating because that's a bad thing. You know, the more of this we have, the worse the rating gets. So that kind of makes sense. If we go over to the sugar, that also kind of makes sense. The more sugar we have, kind of the worse the rating is. And again, it's kind of has this, it's kind of going down. As we increase the amount of sugar, we decrease the Consumer Reports rating. So we have this kind of negative impact. As this increases, this goes down. If we drew a line through it, it would be kind of going down in this direction this time. Right. And then just for fun, let's look at sodium. Sodium, kind of hard to tell. Kind of hard to tell with sodium. It's like there's some cereals that have 0 sodium that have a rating of 60, and there's some cereals that have a sodium of 250 something and have a rating of 60. So it doesn't seem like sodium, like if we add more sodium or take away sodium, it's really affecting the rating in any particular way. Because I mean, where would we draw the line? Would it be going like this? Would it be going like this? It's kind of hard to tell where we would draw that line. So I think sodium doesn't really have any kind of an impact. I mean, you could have lots of sodium or not a lot of sodium, and the ratings really aren't all that dependent on the sodium level. So we have really no impact going on for this one. Now question number 12 says which one had the strongest impact? And by strongest impact, this is an interesting concept. The strongest impact, you think of it this way, which if I gave you one of these ingredients, fat, sugar, protein, or sodium, which one would you rather have if you had to guess the Consumer Reports rating? If I could only give you one of those, so there's like a box of cereal under the table, and I say, okay, if you can guess the Consumer Reports rating, you win, $30,000. If you had, which one of these ingredients would you want me to give you as a hint for you to guess the rating? And it looks like sugar, because no matter what amount of sugar I gave you, there's a really small range to choose from. Like if I said, okay, there's 2 grams of sugar, well, that's only this little range to choose from. If I said there's 10 grams of sugar, that's just this little range to choose from. We kind of saw that in the older question, as opposed to looking down here at let's say at the fat. If I said there's 1 gram of fat, well, now there's a really big range to choose from. Maybe not so sure that we'll kind of guess the right answer. And so that's what's going on. Really, the idea is the stronger the impact, the closer to a perfectly straight line it would be. if I had to draw a line through this, it would be a perfectly straight line. And this looks like sugar has the closest thing to a straight line than all the rest of these. So I would say sugar has the strongest impact.